Hey guys, it's your boy Sushi with another NTE video. So in this video, we will be going over Hathor, who has the biggest playable gap in the game right now. Hopefully Alphard will also be playable in the future. Anyway, we will first talk about her skills and investment priority, then her best arcs, her best console builds, then her awakening or her dupes, and finally some of her best team comps with some detailed rotations for max utility and damage. Now let's get straight into the video. Now let's talk about Hathor's skills. Hathor is the most straightforward sub DPS in the entire game. Her kit revolves around building express delivery power stacks, which I will be referring to as feather stacks for the rest of this video, and dealing a lot of damage before swapping off to the next teammate. She has a normal basic attack string that looks very cool. You can also hold down basic for a tornado attack that also CCs the enemies. She also has a special plunge that helps you glide across the map. Her skill deals Lakshana damage and she gains 2 feather stacks at the bottom of the screen. She also gets 5 ult energy for every feather stack that she gains. You can also hold her skill for AoE Lakshana damage, but you will also gain 3 extra feather stacks if you get hit during the charge. She will also charge her Esper cycle meter with this attack. Note that her skill will be stronger and use her motorcycle after she uses her ult, but more on this later. Her ult, she whips out her motorcycle and gains increased movement speed and an attack buff based on the number of feather stacks. So you want to max her feather stacks before you use her ult. Her support skill swaps in with 2 instances of Lakshana damage. She has a Remora enhancement, which extends the target's Remora duration to 12 seconds and increases the crit rate by 10% when attacking a target affected by Remora. Her second passive allows her to gain 1 feather stack after defeating a target. For her life skill, you can just ignore it. So for her skill level up priority, you want to focus on both of her passives, and then her skill, and then her ult, and then her basic, and then her support skill. Since we are still in the early game, you can keep these skills at level 6 depending on how many mats you have. Next, we will talk about Hathor's best arcs. Hathor's best in slot arc is definitely Raging Flames, which drops from the Headless Rider boss, and you can get more dupes through using keys or farming the boss more, although it'll be a rare drop, so there is no excuse for not getting this arc. Now let's talk about Hathor's console build. So for Hathor's console, you want to run the Street Boxer set because it gives Lakshana damage plus 10% and increases crit chance by 14%. When the team is triggering Remora or Stain, it also increases the bonus to 14% for 20 seconds. So this is a total of 28% extra crit rate, so it is very important to play her with Stain and Remora reactions. The main stat for her cartridge should be Lakshana damage bonus. However, since we are at the early game, you can just use crit rate for this for now if you do not have Lakshana damage bonus. Now for the substat priority, I recommend crit rate, then crit damage, then attack percent, then universal damage, and then flat attack. Aim for at least 35% crit rate without her buffs and about 65% with her buffs. Then go for at least 110 crit damage without any buffs. And lastly, go for at least 2300 attack. Keep in mind guys, this is the final build goal for her, so don't expect to hit these numbers for at least a few weeks into the game. Now let's talk about Hathor's awakenings. So for her first awakening, holding the redirect skill button for the first time in battle grants 6 stacks of her feathers, which is really good. Her second awakening grants Hathor express delivery power when excellent rating lock and 5-star tracking naturally expire. Hathor deals 15% increased damage to non-boss targets. increases the crit chance of the next Cyclone Strike by 25% each time Cyclone Strike is successfully cast while in emergency delivery state. This effect is cleared when the current emergency delivery state ends. Increases damage against targets by 1% for every stack of express delivery power gained. This effect stacks up to 15% and is removed upon leaving combat. And lastly, increases crit damage by 30% while in emergency delivery state. Hathor does the most damage after she uses her ult with all her feather stacks, so you want to optimize how fast she gets her feather stacks and her ult. With that in mind, I recommend going for the exact order of awakenings that the devs listed out for her here. Now let's talk about Hathor's team comps and rotations. Her best team as of right now is Hathor, MC, Sakura, and Fadia. This is best for both mobs and single bosses. Fadia is actually amazing with Hathor because not only can she activate the Stain Esper Cycle reaction, Fadia also absorbs the damage that Hathor wants to take as she is charging up her skill. The biggest and fastest damage rotation starts off with Sakura holding her skill and then ulting for grouping CC and her attack buff. Then you quick swap to MC and use her ult if you have it, then her skill for the instant Remora reaction. Then you Esper Cycle swap over to Hathor, hold her skill, and you want to get hit for her feather stacks, and you also recover Esper Cycle meter while you're holding down this skill. Then you can use her ult and spam her skill to use all of her feather stacks for big damage. If you did this correctly, Hathor's Esper Cycle meter should be nearly or completely filled up so that you can Esper Cycle swap back to MC to use MC's skill and swap back to Hathor for the second wave of burst damage.
Tag, you're it. Watch out! Let me decide it. Fight hero!
No loose ends. I'll handle this. Clear on time. Now's the time. As expected.
Okay, then quick!
Spin and clear.
Sometimes Hathor's skill will overshoot the enemy by a lot and also spread them out, so I'm hoping the devs will fix this in the next patch. You can skip this by ulting once she has gained all of her feather stacks. You will lose out on some damage, but you won't spread out the enemies. You can also Esper Cycle reaction from Fadia to Hathor for Stain, but it is pretty hard filling Fadia's Esper Cycle meter, and I don't think it is worth it in the end game. Hathor's next best team is Hathor, MC, Sakura, and Haniel. Haniel instead of Fadia if you want even more attack buffs and don't have a skill issue of getting hit so much that you need Fadia. Just use Haniel's ult and then her skill before you start with Sakura. There is also an F2P team that I recommend: Hathor, MC, Chiz, and Haniel. Chiz is there just to fill in the downtime for Hathor and MC, but if you play correctly, there shouldn't be that much downtime for Hathor and MC. Technically, you could run Chiz as the main DPS here and have Hathor and MC as the sub DPSs. The only team comp I recommend is starting with Hathor and MC because MC's instant Esper Cycle meter is insanely good for general PvE and the end game. If you guys found the video helpful or enjoyed it, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'll be making in-depth character guides just like this one for every single character in the game. Just a quick reminder to take your time and enjoy the game. Please don't overplay this game and burn out in like 3 or 4 days and then you just quit, okay? I'm really hoping that NTE becomes one of the top gacha games of all time. I stream every single night, guys, so if I don't see you on stream, then I will see you in the next video. Bye!